Greetings. Welcome to the Road Cook. Today we're going to talk a little bit about fermentation, and we're going to make some simple dill pickles. Fermentation, pickling, is a type of food preservation. It also increases certain nutrients. The fermentation varies from the pickling in that it doesn't have vinegar in it. Basically, it is a simple salt, a non-iodized salt, that helps to activate the fermentation process. The fermentation will boost the nutrients and also the probiotics. Fermented vegetables in particular are extremely healthy. They aid the digestive system. In certain cases, they can reduce inflammation, assist with arthritis, gout, things like that. I'm not a doctor. I'm not giving medical advice. Talk to your doctor about such things, but I'm just saying they have great nutritional value. As I said, today we're going to look at dill pickles, and then after this, maybe we'll do some kimchi. Excuse me, need to wash on my hands. Got a niche. So, I've already cleaned the cucumbers in the manner that I did in a previous video. There's a lot of people that will tell you not to clean them in this method. Just rinse them with water or whatever. You can if you want. What they're saying is that in order for things to ferment properly for nutritional value, there are certain natural bacteria that are on the vegetables that assist in culturing during this fermentation. I've read countless articles on this, talked to many people. It's my personal opinion that the same bacteria exist inside that are on the outside. Therefore, I'm not going to take a chance on spoiling the mix by having a semi-clean or even dirty vegetable. All right, so I did the two-stage cleaning on these. In addition, there's an enzyme. Okay, this is the stem end where it grows off the plant. This is the flower end. All right, on the flower end, it's my understanding there's an enzyme here that can make your pickle mushy. It's advised to scratch it off or cut the ends off. Also, you have kind of a icky little stem here. What I did when I was cleaning them is I brushed both ends thoroughly, and then I'll just go ahead and I'll knock off a little bit of the stem just to pretty it up. All right, no big deal. So basically, you're laying your cucumbers in your crock. Oh, let's speak about crocks for a second. This is, in my opinion, one of the best crocks in the world. Now, I'm obviously very pro-America. There's a wonderful company in Ohio that makes a wonderful crock, fermentation crock. Can't think of the name off the top of my head. But because of supply line issues in this day and age, they're pretty much out of stock most of the time. If you go to their site, you find a product from Ohio, I highly recommend it. They're white crocks with a big blue stripe. They're gorgeous. Some of the finest crocks in the world come out of Poland and Germany. Germany crocks are very difficult to find too. They're just in such high demand. They're also kind of pricey. The Polish crocks are not only functional, but they're ornate. They're very pretty. So they're extremely expensive. This crock here comes out of a company in the Czech Republic. You can buy it on Amazon or through a company in Buffalo, New York. It has the water trapper on the outside. It has a smooth, straight line in the crock, which makes it wonderful for cleaning. A lot of the crocks that come out of the Asian countries and the Orient countries have an undercut to them and makes them difficult to clean. This is the largest crock they make. It's 20 liter or roughly 6 gallon. It's about $150. All right, so unless you're going to do this big time like I do, or have a large family, I don't recommend spending that kind of money. There's other options. You can put these into pickle jars, and you can put a plastic cover and a loose cover on them, let them ferment on the countertop, you know, in like a sheet pan, and then just top off the brine as you go along until they're fermented. It only takes 4 to 6 days. 4 days will give you kind of a sweet sour pickle, and 6 days will give you roughly the final dill pickle product. You can also put cheesecloth over a container. You can take a bucket and turn it into a crock. I currently have a batch of apple wine working, which I'll include in this video to show you the carboy that I made out of a Home Depot bucket. There's not a lot to it, but if you're serious about it and you're serious about doing it, the company out of the Czech Republic through Buffalo, New York, or Amazon is outstanding. They're a fantastic product. This is just me. It's not a paid advertisement. This is the largest one they make. They make it from 6 gallons in 4 different sizes down to about a gallon, I believe. Wonderful product. Okay, so basically, I'm just looking at the ends to make sure that they're not too big and glumpy. You're just putting them in here nice and gently. If you bruise them, you're going to lose them. See, I got my cleaver out today. If you watch any of my other videos, I've seen how, you know, sometimes cleavers, I use them as an all-purpose knife. And for something like this, they're awesome. Okay. So, in a perfect world, you want to kind of layer these things. Also, as you might see, I only have about 22 pickles and about a gallon of water in this big old crock. I'm doing this for 2 reasons. One, primarily it's the only crock I got, and 2, to show you that if you get an oversized crock, you don't have to fill it up all the time. That's what this water trap here is for. This thing is incredible. Like I said, you want to kind of layer these things. Make a layer of pickles. The ingredients are very, very simple. In this case, I've got about a dozen garlic cloves that I have trimmed the ends off, peeled, and crushed just slightly, just enough to break the oils out. You put these in here. You can adjust the garlic as you wish. You can make it more, you can make it less. I will say, in this environment, you know, I come from a family that originally is from Poland and Germany. So me, I live on garlic. My first time I ever did this, I put in like 30 garlic cloves thinking I'd have a wonderful flavor. Whew, that was awful. So garlic, yes, but fresh garlic, be careful. Don't get too happy with it, or you will regret it. Okay. We have dill weed here. This is just a simple dill pickle we're doing today. It is best to get the large, fresh dill weed, and if the dill weed has seeded somewhat on top, it's flowered and seeded, that is the best flavor. Don't have it around here. I've tried this with dried dill weed. It does not work very well. So here we have just the little fresh packages. Doesn't take a lot. I'm only going to throw in a couple packages worth. You don't have to chop it up because you're not really going to eat it. It's more of a flavor. Put a few more of these bad boys on here. I don't really want the dill to float around, but it doesn't matter. One of the important things is to make sure these are always covered with the brine. So this particular crock has weights that go on it. So we'll put the weights on it in the end, and that'll keep it under the water. It's really, you might want to make sure they're always covered with the brine. Okay. So a couple more of these bad boys in here. All right, rest of the dill. There's not much to it. Oh, that smells more better than good. All right. In addition to that, throw couple of bay leaves. How many? It's up to you. I'll put in the written recipe, I'll put down the proper measurements, but feel free to adjust it. You can also use all different kinds of pickling spices. You can use a pre-made pickling spice. I'm just using the garlic, the dill, and mustard seed. You can add the Polish Trinity, the Polish Holy Trinity, which would be allspice berries, black peppercorns, and bay leaves. That's one option. You can just add, you can add anything you want to it. Just kind of avoid your dried herbs. Try to use fresh wherever possible. I'm going to throw in a couple of teaspoons of mustard seed. This is another one of those flavors that you won't really taste per se. It's not like you're going to bite into the pickle and go, oh, that mustard seed's delicious. But if it's not there, very often you'll be like, what's missing? All right, get the rest of my pickles in here. Trying to think of what else I forgot to tell you. I get all prepared to do these things, and then I get in front of the camera, and because I've spent my life cooking and not talking, I'm trying to cook and talk, and sometimes I stumble over my feet. Tongue, lips, you know. Don't be too obsessed with blemishes and whatnot, but if it's bruised or has a bad spot on it, you might want to leave it. You can trim it off, but you might want to leave it out altogether, because this is a controlled situation, and you want to keep it controlled. Okay, so next thing we do, and that's really all there is to it. There's garlic, there's dill, there's mustard seed, there's cucumbers, there's bay leaves. That's all for this batch. All right, and this is the lid. Very, very beautiful lid, very heavy. This whole crock is very heavy. All right, now here I have 1 gallon of water. For 1 gallon of water, I want approximately 6 tablespoons of salt. You want 6 ounces of salt, I apologize. You want 3 tablespoons of salt per quart. That is 1.5 ounces of salt per quart. Too little and your pickles will be mushy. Too much and they're going to be very salty. Some people like that. As I've mentioned before, I am a very, very, very big fan of Celtic sea salt. It is kosher. It is unrefined mineral salt. Okay. But let me restate. It's a sea salt that has natural minerals in it. That can get a little confusing. I've had many arguments with many intelligent people over it and lost quite a few. The tricky thing about sea salts, I'm also a very big fan of the Korean fine sea salt, which is openly air dried. And when you look at it, I might have some here still. When you look at the Korean sea salt, by comparison, the Korean sea salt is extremely fine. It dissolves very nicely, so does this. It's got a very fine flavor to it. The Celtic sea salt, on the other hand, which dissolves equally well, you can see is much more granular, and it has an extremely robust flavor. All right, so I need 3/4 of a cup. This is a quarter measurement. Really, in a perfect world, you should weigh it. That's a recalculation. Just stick to the measurement for now. We'll talk about weight, because if you need a measured 3/4 of a cup, which is 6 ounces, and you weigh out 6 ounces of salt, the amount's going to vary vastly, and your results are going to vary vastly. This recipe is in a measured amount, so we're going to stick to that for now. Okay. So then we want to mix this up, and remember that salt is a suspension, not a solution, so it's not going to mix like sugar. It will dissolve and incorporate into the mix eventually. Now, when you go back in 6 days in your crock, you're going to find the water very cloudy, and the pickles will be sort of an olive drab. That's what you want. As long as they're nice and firm and crunchy, that's fine. Okay. And just sort of gently pour this in there. We're not looking to mix anything, we're just looking to cover. Also, if you're using a clear container, pickle jars would have you, you will find that as this process is taking place, the pickles will turn almost an unreal bright green. That's just part of the process. They'll go from bright green to olive drab. Alright, so we have our pickles, we have the brine. We're going to put weights on them, make sure they're covered, and we'll come back in about 6 days and take a look at the results. Until then, eat well, be good to one another. We'll see you soon on The Road Cook. Alright, now here you can see just a simple Home Depot bucket that I use for making wine. You see, all I did was cut a hole in the top. Got like a $5 water trap with a cork. Get it from any wine supply store. Get it from Amazon, wherever. And you can make any fermented vegetable in this. You can make sauerkraut, pickles, kimchi, anything you want, as well as your homemade wine. This is just one example of an option. Greetings, welcome back. It's been about 8 days now. I checked the pickles at 6 days and they weren't quite there. And then of course down here where we had freezings and power outages and all kinds of fun drama like that. But in any case, we're back, and as you can see, there's a couple examples. Beautiful little pickles. They have that nice olive drab look that I was talking about. Cut them open, and you can see how lovely they are. They're still nice and crisp. Now you see this, it's a darker area here. If you'd have taken it longer, that would have been complete. This is half done. So you can take these and you can can them, put them in jars, leave them in the brine, put them in the fridge, and they will continue. But they're also fine just the way they are. You can see this one's a little bit more. But any case, they're delicious. They're crispy. Take them, put them in the fridge, and have a great time of it. That's all for now. Thank you for stopping by The Road Cook. Have a wonderful day. Be good to each other and eat well.